Hi everybody. So today I wanted to talk about how your thoughts are not yours and sort of like your inner dialogue that you have. So for this video I kind of want you to think about the brain as a satellite. If you want to understand that more, you can kind of go to my Vortex video, and it just kind of what it means is you're receiving things, and you receive things that are unseen, such as thoughts and feelings. Okay? So now kind of think about it as like, okay, you had an idea, and that idea was like you don't have something and you wanted to obtain something, meaning like, I'm hungry and I want some food. So now you're following that one thought process, so that one idea to go get some food, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna go to McDonald's and I'm gonna get a McChicken and a chocolate shake or whatever, right? And then you get there and you're like, oh, I don't really want a chicken sandwich. I kind of want a quarter pounder, right? And this is like you changed your direction, or you change your thought process, but you're still following that one idea, right? And this, you can look at everything this way, okay? And so some people have this inner dialogue which kind of comes through to you in like different voices. Maybe it's a relative's voice or someone you know, it's their voice, or maybe it's your own voice. But it maybe is played out in like different tones, okay? And now this will kind of help you realize like the certain vibration that you're thinking in. If it's more like loving and caring and stuff, it might be of a higher vibration, or if it's more like hatred, like you're depressed, you're kind of disowning yourself, whatever, this is kind of like a lower vibrational thought, right? And now I kind of want you to just think about it as like, this is what fourth dimensional beings are doing. This is why they're called like over souls, because your soul is like what you're doing now, it's like what you're in, right? And they're over souls because they're over you. You see, so then they're like an existence above you, and we can't see them. Again, we have to split the unseen from the seen. So we have to think, okay, so everything plays out on a small scale and a big scale, meaning they have to eat, they have to survive somehow. And the way they kind of survive is through thoughts and emotions, because that's something that's unseen, right? And this is something they obtain, and this is something they can grow with, right? And so, since they need thoughts and emotions to survive, they kind of need you, and then they need to go inside you and kind of experience through you. So at that moment when you're in that situation and you have these thoughts, that's a certain spirit in like looking through you, and they're telling you to do certain things, so that because they want to see that, they want to see that experience. There's certain spirits that like to see fights, so they'll be there, they'll be in the fight, like, oh yeah, hit that motherfucker or whatever, right? And they just they want to experience that, they want to see that, and they want to obtain something from that. And you're just like, you're a tool to them, and you're just kind of being used so that you can do that for them, right? This is kind of like when you dream, you're kind of now doing that in like a two-dimensional space, and you're now experiencing it through someone else. You see, and this is why the people that can control, right? They're the ones that are powerful enough to then tell that person to do the, oh no, don't turn around, or fight, or whatever, right? This is that spirit's being able to do that, but you're not actually like moving that body. This is why it seems like really euphoric and stuff. And so now you can kind of get thought processes through other people, and this is because they have their own satellite too. So one person can kind of receive a certain idea or a certain being, right? And then they can kind of reciprocate it to someone else. And now you're giving them that thought process. You're kind of just like throwing it to them, right? And this is the idea of like catching it or getting it. This is why you can't really like create your own thought. You see, because you can, but it's just it's hard, because imagine all these other spirits that control all these other things. that they already did all these things. So it's like subcategories now. You can only like create like a new subcategory because the perimeter is already kind of obtained. It's already expanded, right? So you can't really go past that of what you're in. You see, so now this is kind of getting into, okay, well then now, is it bad for me to follow those spirits? Is it bad for me to follow my thought process? And I can only tell you it's either good or bad for you, right? Just look at the circumstances that you're in and start to think about how, like, okay, so I'm having these certain repeated thought processes. And do I like where my life is right now? Is it getting me that far? Or do I need to get a better one? Do I need to get a new one so that then I can proceed in the way that I want to proceed? You see, this is, good and bad subjective, so it's also subjective to yourself, It could be like a good spirit or it could be a bad spirit. It just only depends on your point, where you're at right now. If that's bad to you, then it's bad. If it's good, it's good. And I'm not telling you to not follow them or follow them. I'm just saying this is kind of what's happening, And this is what they do. It's like, it's kind of messed up that they feed off you, but it's just how it is. I mean, you can't really change it, just like we can't change, we have to consume something to eat, or to survive. We have to digest and take the nutrients from it. It's the same concept. And this is why you are what you eat. They're eating negative emotions, so they're maybe a negative spirit. They're eating positive emotions, so they're a positive spirit. This is all it is, And if they think they're positive, then they'll be brighter. If they think they're more negative, then they'll be darker. It doesn't really matter. But start to think about this in your daily lives. Like, did you get that idea from someone else? Did you get that idea from yourself? While you were in your space and then just a random idea popped in your head. Is that a good or a bad thing to you? Do you want to proceed with that thing? Weigh your options, What do I have to give to get? Do I have to give a certain amount of money to get a certain amount of food? All these things. And just kind of start to realize, like, your inner dialogue is not always correct, And this is also getting into kind of like telepathy and stuff, reading people's minds and stuff, because like with my girlfriend, I can actually, like, sometimes I'll hear what she's saying, and it's different because I interpret it with my ego, but it's a thought process that I heard, and I knew it wasn't mine, it wasn't from me. So then I'll ask her, and she's like, yeah, that's what I said. You see, it's just because I'm more connected with her, so our satellites can, like, be more conjoined and stuff, right? But this is kind of where you can get lost as well, because you can't hear everything that they're saying. Sometimes you want to hear it, so then it'll be like a demon that will actually put you in a circumstance where you didn't actually hear what they said, but you thought you did. So then you'll follow that path and you'll be like, oh, they didn't like me because I heard they didn't like me, or I felt like they didn't like me. It's that. Did you ask them, did you confirm that thought was not yours? This is kind of the problem as well. You kind of get lost in the mind, It's very hard to kind of, like, point blank period, see, like, which one's good for you, which one's bad for you, because it just happens with, like, a blink, It's just like, oh, punch that guy. And like, okay, or whatever. It just depends on your spirit and your willpower, all this and that, but I just hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let me know some feedback, but I'll see you guys in the next one.